Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 2000 Project, where myself and Russell Howell go through as many movies from the year 2000 as we can. Russell, how are you?
Fantastic. Talked off air. Naked Gun was hilarious. So I am very happy. It was a funny movie, and ready to talk about some films from the year 2000. So looking forward to this as well.
We got a double feature here, and it's not Leprechaun in the Hood. That's a big plus. However, we got one sort of
Yes.
mediocre one and one pretty good one. However, it's also a weird one at the same time, but we'll get to that. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, we'd appreciate a fiver. That would be very nice to do. With all that out of the way, let's get started. Starting up with Price of Glory. This was directed by Carlos Avila. I hope I said the name right. And it starred Jimmy Smits, Maria Del Mar, John Cena, and Ron Perlman, who has never aged a day in his life. Like, I swear, I don't know what his
Yeah.
secret is, but he looks the same. But regardless, it tells the story of an ex-boxer played by Jimmy Smits who has raised his sons to become boxers themselves. Smits kind of washed out of the boxing world and so doesn't want that fate for his sons. However, his sons react to this very differently. And so over the course of the movie, you see his journey trying to help his sons while him also getting back into the ring himself. This movie almost doesn't even exist. It's like it barely exists. Like it exists. Russell, to his credit, he found it in two parts on YouTube. Surprised it hasn't been taken down yet, but it just like I was able to find the Evil Dead on the Wayback Machine like a couple weeks ago. It's like, do movie rights just mean nothing anymore? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, this is one I never even had heard of it, and obviously. I did some searching because you're like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. And I said, well, good news. I said, it's on YouTube, two parts. Send it to you. So now we're good to go. We're good to cook. Yeah, I mean, this obviously didn't come out. This was a direct to DVD, I'm assuming.
Yeah, my biggest problem with this movie is Jimmy Smits. Now, I mean, he's Senator Organa from the prequels, which is why this is here. So I'm a big fan of him there. But here, I just was not a fan. Basically, without going too deep into spoilers, like he's very controlling and demanding of his sons. And his sons, like one dabbles in drugs, which is very unfortunate, and one wants to get married, and he's like, "Don't get married young. That's what I did. It's a mistake." And I would like that, but however, it just is a vicious cycle, and you get these same conversations of like, "Don't do that. That's something that I wouldn't do," and the sons do it anyway. It gets very tedious very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jimmy Smith's character is obviously trying to uh, almost be the poster child of making those decisions because I think he has like regret because of the fact that he did get married young, he did start a family young, and he had to put his dreams, he had to put his dreams and aspirations on the back burner. And just like any sports movie that you can think of, there's always that man, I wish I could have done things different. And, you wish you could have done this and wish you could have done that. And then you have Jimmy Smith's character who's pretty much living out his boxing career, boxing fans, his sons, almost to a detriment, obviously, without spoiling. But it's one of those things where something's going to happen because you can't just push and not expect to be consequences. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and it's the annoyance factor, which is just what it really boils down to. And for some, it'll be fine. For me, it just like by the third time, I'm just like, why don't you just leave him? Like, I know he's your dad, but like, set a very clear boundary and be like, this is us and this is you, and we need to like separate from you for a while. Like
Yeah.
it got very samey, which is why I didn't like High Fidelity as much. I'm like, it's the same conversation of why do women not love me, but I don't want to rehash all of that here.
Yeah, I mean, and like to Jimmy Smith's detriment, it's very toxic. It's like, the Suns could easily just say, you know what, we're going to do this without you. It's just better off that way. And if that would happen, things like the butterfly effect of unfortunate events, I think, would have been righted. There wouldn't have been, doom and gloom. So to
See,
me, yeah,
I'll reference, and this is not a boxing movie; it's an MMA movie. But I'll reference Warrior for a second. Warrior
yeah,
is a very sad movie. Like Tom Hardy is fighting in the Spartan fight to raise money to help the family of a fallen soldier. Joel Edgerton is trying to win that same money to get his family out of debt and help pay off their house. And their dad is a former alcoholic who relapses hard, and it's
hard.
painful to watch. But what makes Warrior so good is that you get that feeling of these guys are doing it for different reasons and they're understandable reasons. So even though it's dark, there's like a weird sort of likability to it, or the feeling of I want someone to win to like succeed here. I didn't want anyone to succeed with this movie. And I know I'm comparing two vastly different like subject materials here, but I was just like the entire time I was like Price of Glory is Warrior but worse.
To me, it's like, okay, so Warrior is almost good versus bad, but it's almost good versus good at the end. You know what I mean? Because you kind of want both of them to win, but they obviously that they can. With this one, like you said, you really just don't care. You don't have a horse in the race, so to speak, because you just really just don't care. You kind of know obviously what's going to happen. You know a brother's going to win, and that's going to be the end all. So it feels very lackluster. It's not very edge of your seat because you kind of already know where we're going with this one. Like other films do it better. Warrior, you didn't know what was going to happen. It's more, or even like Friday Night Lights, you were surprised what happened. You know what I mean? Like different things like that. You expect something and you don't get it, and it's like okay, cool. Like this is real life. But this one, you could kind of see what was going to happen. And like that celebration at the end was so cheesy. It was like this is like literally a made for TV film. It reminds me of like a Lifetime family film. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And
Yeah.
to put a finer point on it, the sports movie genre, I think, is actually quite underrated. There are quite a few really good ones. Like, I'll count all the Rocky and Creed movies in there, and Warrior, and Disney in the 2000s just churned out a ton of hits, like, say, Miracle and Remember the Titans, and We Are Marshall, a severely underrated one. It's not Disney, but it's severely underrated.
Oh, 100%. And
You can do
Even Disney did McFarlane USA, which was fantastic too.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
you can do a sports movie and you can like make it dark, but you can also make it not like I'll just say like likable in the sense that you want these people to succeed. I didn't want anyone to succeed here. This movie's very forgettable. It's not absolutely horrible. Like it's clear that these actors are like really trying, but this really suffers from just a general lack of likability. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, you kind of know obviously where we're going to go near the back end of the film. You know what's going to happen. You just don't know which brother or what's going to happen, but you kind of have an idea. And then at the end of the day, it's just kind of one of those forgettable films. There's so many sports films that kind of overshadow that. Even baseball for Love of the Game is a fantastic film.
Throw The Greatest Game Ever Played in there as well. That's a golf movie that I really love.
Yeah. Or Legend of Bagger Vance. You could throw that in there. You could throw.
We could do this all night, basically.
Yeah, 100%. That what was that newer one? Was it that newer one with it was the hit was it the Mexicans that were learning to golf or whatever? It was like a newer film that came out.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't bad. That was pretty good.
I think Dennis Quaid was in.
Dennis Quaid wasn't it. He played like the coach or whatever. Yeah, that was a really good film too, like a very under the radar type film. But yeah, what we're saying is there's better sports films out there. Don't waste your time with this one.
Exactly. And now for the sake of just my curiosity, I need to find out what that movie is called. It is called
I
the,
can't
the,
think of
the,
that.
where? Oh, The Long Game. That's what it's
I
called.
I knew it began with an L. I couldn't think of it. Okay, yeah.
But let's go into the other half of the double feature, a way better movie in every regard. It is The Road to El Dorado.
The Road to El Dorado.
This was directed by Bibo Bergeron and Don Paul, and this is one of the very first movies released by a little animation studio called DreamWorks. In the late 90s, Jeffrey Katzenberg said goodbye to Disney and started up his own animation studio, which is still going pretty strong to this day. Haven't seen The Bad Guys 2. I've heard it's really good.
Good.
But this was one of their earliest films. They had just done a little movie called The Prince of Egypt 2 years prior. That movie's awesome. See it if you haven't. And it follows two thieves named Miguel and Tulio, played by Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline. I know how to talk. They are looking for El Dorado, the city of gold, and they get into all sorts of stuff on the road to that. And this is a movie I've seen a few times, and this is not one of my favorites from DreamWorks. It's good. The animation is really great, and as Russell's wearing the hat, I mean, it's got music from Elton John. So, like, those elements alone, you can't help but not at least make a watchable movie. And the movie's good, but I feel like because it came out after Prince of Egypt, which is one of the best movies that DreamWorks has ever done, you're already handicapped.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Elton John's 6 years past Lion King, doing a score with Tim Rice on that. Obviously you have this film, and you obviously have Elton John lending his voice to the soundtrack. It's already got a stamp of approval in my book because he's one of my favorite artists. So that's a good thing going forward. But you also have voice talent in this film, like Prince of Egypt, not to that, that cataclysmic, everybody, a banger of list of voice talent. But this one's still pretty good. Kenneth Branagh's fantastic. Him and Kevin Kline playing off one another. Rosie Perez. You have Edward James Olmos in there too. So you have a lot of like different underrated, actors and actresses in here. Like almost like who's who of the 90s into the 2000s. But I still think this is a fine enough film for being a sophomore debut from DreamWorks,
Yeah, and like I said, animation is really good here. There's just like even in their worst movies, DreamWorks has still had good animation. Maybe it's just like I'm a big old softy for animation, but just I don't think I've ever seen a bad DreamWorks animated movie. I'm sure there's an example out there, but the animation itself is great. It's the content that struggles. But again, I'm sidetracking myself. Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline do have good chemistry with each other. It's funny to think that these two are like, these serious like one's a Shakespearean level actor, and then they're doing like stuff like this. I think that's really cool. And then of course it spawned the meme of both is good. So at least the movie has a legacy there.
Yeah, it just shows the versatility of Branagh. I mean, he's just fantastic. You're all around Heinz 57 type actor. He can kind of insert himself in anywhere and still be so successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just in general, it feels like this is one of the ones that I think gets kind of swept under the rug of the DreamWorks legacy, because like this is a weird one. Because you think about it and it's like you got all the elements for an all-timer and it just kind of comes out okay. So I feel like a book should be written about this movie. I would read it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie it has a lot to live up to. Obviously, the hype and just everything surrounding the Prince of Egypt. You know what I mean? Talent-wise, off the charts. You know what I mean? You have Val Kilmer and Ray Fiennes, leading the ensemble cast. You know what I mean? It's pretty hard to outduel those guys, you know what I mean? But I think Kline and Branagh do a good enough job. I think the soundtrack's fantastic from top to bottom. I don't think there's I think Elton John, really brings his just just brings his musical abilities to this film, like he did obviously with The Lion King. I mean, you're not going to have Can You Feel the Love Tonight? You're not going to have The Road to El Dorado as like Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Obviously, there's A Circle of Life, but it still hits. I mean, there's still some pretty good songs on there, like Someday Out, Somewhere, or Someday Out the Blue. That's another good one. I mean, there's some really good songs in here. I mean, it's a fantastic soundtrack, very underrated Elton John work. But at the end of the day, obviously, we're going to be completely overshadowed by The Lion King. But yeah, I like it enough. I mean, it's not DreamWorks' best by any means, but I still think it's a serviceable film. I just like how their shenanigans get them to a place where they're being like worshipped as gods or idols. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of funny. And they basically play into it. Brandoff's character more so, I think, plays into it a lot more than Klein's character. But I still think even you buy the love interest, I guess, with Rosie Perez's character and Kevin, or Klein's character as well. I like that. It's a good enough film. I think it's overall it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's getting a good rating from me. It's watchable. It's got good animation. It's got good songs. There's nothing really wrong with it. I felt like there should have been more from this. But
the runtime hurts it. I mean, 82 minutes, 83 minutes. You know what I mean?
That is very true. Like I hate when movies go too long, but also too short is a bit of a problem too. I don't think people talk about that enough.
Like you could have put another 25 minutes on this film, I think, to make it a little bit more like I guess to kind of appease like probably you in this situation, I guess, just because of the fact that I think because of the short run time, you feel like you kind of wanted more, like you didn't get everything you came in for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like leaving Panera Bread. You're always hungry. You know what I mean? So maybe that's a good enough analogy, I guess, for this.
Well, I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these movies? Let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. And when we return to the 2000s again, we'll be covering another double feature. And man, talk about differences in content. We've got The Skulls, starring Paul Walker, rest in peace, and Joshua Jackson. And then we got Ready to Rumble, which is the movie that led David Arquette to becoming WCW champion. We will get to that. But Russell, it's a privilege to do this with you every Friday. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Notorious by Chance on YouTube. And another little fun fact, Chance and I did do around Easter time, we did an episode on Prince of Egypt. So go ahead and check that out. Since we talked about it, I think that's only fitting that we talk about the debut DreamWorks animated film. So check that one out. And then you guys can find us at NBC Podcast on the X and TikTok as well. I think it's NBC Podcast or Notorious by Chance.
All the links will be down below, so go check them out there. And as far as next Friday goes, we will return to the horror movie Iceberg, and we will continue our coverage of Wreck and Quarantine. We will be talking about Wreck 3. So it's one I have not seen. Russell has not seen either. We're going in totally blind, hoping for the best. But thank you all so much for watching and or listening. For Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.